It is 7:30. We're going to call the meeting to order. First item, first of all, I hope you all had a nice, wonderful weekend before it gets hot this week. We need to acknowledge the minutes from May the 22nd and May the 23rd.
Second.
Moved by Sandquist, seconded by Dimmitt. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is discuss and consider a standard form of agreement between Jefferson County and Shaw's Forging Contracting, Inc.
Okay, we've all had this, and the county attorney's office has looked at it, so I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion approved by Sandquist, second by Dimmitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
You want me to reach out to Mike, let him know?
Let him know.
We just, we approve it, so we're done.
Sure, if you'd like to. Next item is the update from the ambulance director. You're up, Brian.
Oh, there's no room at the table.
Yeah,
Oh,
right. Wrong answer, Kimosabe.
Yes.
Just go right in here between those.
Hi, Dwayne. How are you? Good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Well, we're moving right along. I contacted Chris Essel regarding our MPI numbers. She released 2 of them. It's going to be about 7 days or so before we can apply for MPI. So I'd say probably the beginning of next week, we'll be able to apply for them.
I thought we needed a medical director to do that.
We do, but as far as our own entities, our own entity being the ambulance needs an MPI number, and together with the medical director's MPI number, we can get our Medicare, Medicaid infrastructure.
Yeah, that's a big hurdle.
Ma'am?
That's a big hurdle once we get that one done.
It is. It's a little time consuming, but I had heard from my many conversations with them that once we apply, it's going to be about 30 days, 30 to 45 days before we get our MPI number. So we'll be up and going. The other thing is we have reached out to a medical director, and I haven't got the final numbers on the malpractice quite yet, but I do have numbers as far as what she'll be charging, and those numbers are, it's $100 an hour for clinical hour, and we expect from June, July, August, and September to be about 30 hours, and of course it's all going to be more initially for protocols and drugs and training and things like that.
And you've talked to her about that and estimating.
That's
those.
correct.
Okay.
We do have a tentative yes. We are just waiting on the malpractice insurance, and that's anywhere between $2,000 to $4,000 dollars or so for the year. Not for the year.
Yeah.
Sorry, for the year.
So then we'll have a contract with her, right?
That's correct. I have reached out to Chauncey and talked to him about that. He said, get some bullet points. I got half of those bullet points. I'm just waiting on this final hurdle to go through.
What did she estimate it, or you estimated it between the two of you would be about, after the first 4 months, or whatever you said, would be about $4,800 a year.
Correct.
$100 a month.
That's correct.
And we've reached out to Joe Benz, our insurance carrier, about trying to set that up. Because
Right.
the holiday weekend, I think, is at the office, but we'll get it squared away this week.
Yeah, the holidays kind of threw everything off, but in October, once we start up, we're going back to, since we're mainly going to be running 2 units, it's going to be 2 clinical hours per unit, or 4 hours a month. That's what that comes to. So $400 a month. So, any questions regarding that?
None at this time.
Okay.
From me anyway. I'd like to, we have a lot of folks in the room, and they don't think they want to sit here 2 hours. So I'd like to go into public comments now if you guys have any public comments.
What time to be here, 2 hours?
Yeah, I'll take advantage of that.
Sure.
I'm Dave Harper. I'm resident up in Limbey,
Nice to see you, Dave.
Iowa. And just, I know there was some discussion about potentially 110 and butternut potentially being paved. I know, previously it was seal coated several years ago. And I guess I'd like to advocate for that, to continue to looking at 110. 110 is traveled extremely a lot. Pekin School is there's not a paved road that reaches Pekin Community School District from anywhere in the county. We have to go outside the county to get to Pekin on pavement. With that, there's a lot of kids that utilize that road, and with the dust, and I know Mr. Abbott can talk about the kids going down there with machinery and everything. It just,
Sure.
especially along Butternut too. But just like to advocate the benefit for the Pekin community up there, Packwood, having that paved. I know this has just been a long time discussion, but like I said, it was pretty great when it was seal coated. It was very safe for the kids in the community.
Sure.
So
I think I'd like the county engineer to explain 110.
So last year we put a bunch of rock on 110th to basically beef up the stability of the subgrade, with the intent this year that we would chip seal it to make it a dust-free surface. Senator Dickey was very instrumental in pushing us and assisting us in getting accepted for a grant from the federal government to improve that to a higher level so we can do base stabilization and 30-foot asphalt pavement on top of that. But since we had it as chips in the chip seal project, we're not going to do the chip seal. We're holding out for the grant because it's fiscally irresponsible to improve a road and then turn around and tear it up. We should have final word on that grant September or October, so it's going to be a 2024 project.
okay. So if the grant goes through, then the summer of 24, we probably see some.
And we intend, along with that, we intend to keep applying dust control to butternut to help keep that at a higher level than what it is.
Perfect.
But we won't know for sure until the federal appropriations go through.
May I ask how far down 110 are they going to go to the Packwood Road?
We're going to the railroad tracks
Okay.
because it takes forever to get a railroad crossing permit to work in there. And the stipulations of this grant are we have 12 months to do it.
I mean, from the road tracks
From
east
to Packwood Road.
Oh, perfect.
So yeah, the last time the only time I've got a railroad grant, it took almost a year to get it.
Well, with the railroad
railroad.
upgrading their switches, and now we don't have a block. The train's not been blocking 110 for quite a while now since they've upgraded.
Yeah, they're just a pain to work with when it goes to actually working across their right of way.
Oh, we know.
Their attitude is they were there first, so you're kind of at their mercy. Yeah, that's our intent.
All right.
Until it comes to crossing.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So how many dollars did you guys apply for this grant?
That I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Can you double it?
I think $5 million.
You can't double it? So with that dust control, I understand what you're getting at there, but what worries me is about the heavy equipment that the farmers have and the trucks have. I don't think seal coat's gonna work.
We're not, the grants for base stabilization and then 5-inch asphalt pavement on top of that. So we're gonna do basically on Nutmeg, we're coming through and doing a cement base stabilization and putting an out seal on it to handle the truck traffic that runs from Heartland up to Salina Road. We'll be doing the same base stabilization, but then putting a 5-inch asphalt pavement on top of that.
What's the cost difference between that and just you using concrete to begin with? Not guessing, but I want a firm number is what I'm curious about. A lot of people I talked to, they said, well, it's a lot of money. A lot of money is different to everybody.
I don't have the time frame wouldn't allow me to put concrete on there.
Sorry.
The time frame would not allow me to put concrete on there because we do not have it designed. With concrete, with asphalt, they can basically follow the existing contours. With concrete, I have to have exact design on it. And then I also have to redo the ditches.
Will the asphalt be, we have a lot of heavy equipment coming up and down that road. Is that, I'm guessing that'd be sufficient for the,
Yes.
because our seal coat road got beat up.
I was in the asphalt,
Pretty quick.
I was in the asphalt world for 30 years. When I first started in that industry, 8 inches of rock and 3 inches of asphalt was for semi-traffic, if you had a stable base. That's the purpose of the cement stabilization of the base, is so that you have the structure underneath there. Then basically your asphalt's your wearing surface.
Can we do anything about the dust until then? Because the way these high school kids drive, I drive that road every day coming to Fairfield to work. Probably 4 times this spring and summer, I've seen kids almost lose it, hitting each other. One was fishtailing all over. One of them, there was a big piece of equipment. We couldn't see it because of the dust, and he was literally flying up behind it. And I was far enough back, I could see the top of the tractor. And he almost hit that piece of equipment from the back. And it's so dusty because they put all this new gravel on it. And it's awful.
Well, we can dust control it if the supervisors will let me spend the money on that.
That's what you just said you were gonna do.
That won't be till next year. We're gonna dust control butternut. We're gonna maintain, we started dust control on that last year.
So we got our own tank, and we used to buy calcium chloride.
We still do.
Okay, well then we need to.
It's just a matter of,
I think we can find the money, especially from the, what's left over from the CARES money, to do that, because, yes.
No, go ahead and finish, but I got another question.
Go
and
ahead.
finish,
No,
please.
they know what I'm talking about.
How much more time do you need to be able to do the road concrete over asphalt, or the way you're talking about doing it?
probably take me a year design,
Why does it take a year?
the survey, and then just the layout. And that's not, it's not what we do every day, so we're not as efficient at it. Or we can sub that out, but again, it just takes time to design a concrete road.
To sub it out, if you have somebody contract that, I don't do it every day, so I don't know, but I'd like to know what the difference is, and if it can be done. If
It
you
can
could put a
be done, but
hurry
it
up
can't,
on
it can't
things.
be done within the scope of what that grant is. So if I do a concrete road, I'm gonna have to do the ditches.
Is there something wrong with doing it like that?
It really, just the money.
So
Just,
is there,
you're looking at spending $8 to $10 million for 200 vehicles a day, and fiscally, it's your responsibility.
sorry, I didn't understand what you said there.
It's spending a lot of money for not a lot of traffic, sir. I would love to be able to raise every road in the county to that level.
I think Lincoln's in a unique situation though, with the school district being physically in Jefferson County and not having a hard surface road to the school. Because I guarantee there's more than 200 vehicles. You pick a ball game night, we've got hundreds and hundreds of vehicles coming up and down that road. Just between that school has really been the hub of the community up there, and everything revolves around there. And it would just be very beneficial to have a hard surface. But I think what I'm hearing you're saying, that because of the scope of the grant, you have a limited time frame
We have a very short window to,
that can only be applied for asphalt.
yeah. If we had had it basically in our back pocket redesigned, then yes, we could do with the concrete pavement on it. But you're still gonna have, with the concrete pavement, it requires, because of the thickness you have to go to have a rigid pavement on that, we would have to redo the ditches on there, which we don't have to do with the asphalt.
Should you do them though?
No,
Aren't the ditches done from the Belleville corner?
It's all planned.
That's all wiped out. From the Belleville corner.
Talking Mitchell's Court.
Mitchell's corner.
Yeah. To the track.
That goes way back.
Yeah.
but because it's federal money, they have to go to a 41 slope. Yes, sir.
What happens if you don't get the grant? Then what are we gonna do to the road?
We'll go back to our original plan.
You're not gonna use that other grant money for the chip surface to go somewhere else now? Because
The chip seal that we were gonna put on 110 will go to 146.
so then where are you gonna get the money to go back to the original plan?
We'll put it in next year's program.
So my point being is the work that you did last year on the road, definitely from Columbine Avenue is what I call it anyway, to the east. You brought in wet rock and repacked that and built the road up a lot better than what it was. Perfect condition, perfect, what do you want to call it, slope for drainage and everything. Then you come in this winter and you cut that ridge off and now the road's flat again. So you're not going to be able to maintain your base with a flat road compared to a pitched road. Am I wrong?
No.
Water will drain off a pitched road a lot better than a flat road. That's where the problem's coming, is being able to maintain all the county roads correctly. They come along and they try to put a pitch on it, and now the water can't get into the ditches because they graded it to where the water is going to go to the side of the road and then just run down along the side of the road. It's going to wash out the road. I don't know if you county supervisors drive these roads. Drive them after they've graded them. Get out and walk them. Look at them. I can see it right in front of my house. Okay. I got a driveway that goes uphill off of 110th. And I'm telling you, they're gouging into my driveway that when I go to pull in my driveway, it's a bump. And it never used to be that way. They always maintained it to where there was an easy transition up off of 110th. But we had a good base. And now somebody's went in and graded it wrong. And now we no longer have that pitch. Traffic was slower because the pitch was so much. I loved it. But then I don't know who decided to take that pitch off. But I think with a better base that maybe the seal coat will work better. I was told that this new seal coat system was a different system than what they used on Abington Road and Butternut before. And that if you have a lot better stable base, the seal coat is going to last a lot longer. And I will have to say that 110th, at least from the Packwood Road to Columbine Avenue, is definitely better than what it was in the past. It's almost like what it is to the west of Columbine Avenue now. That road, I think, is pretty stable and sound. But if you can't maintain it, it's not going to stay that way.
Yeah, until you can get it sealed off.
But I'm just concerned that you're not going to get the grant, then nothing's going to get done with 110th. And I'm telling you, I've only been around here since '96. Kenny can probably say when before that they went through and reworked that road at one time. It was supposed to get paved, not the road south of Packwood that goes west, but the county supervisor at that time lived on that road. And that's why that road got paved. And he sold them on the fact that no, Wapello County is going to meet us. And that'll be a paved, well, perfect plan. But you know what? Wapello County never came and met. And this 110th was widened out. Farmers gave up ground so that road would be paved, and it was never done. And I'm just scared that the same thing's going to happen now, that you're not going to get the grant or the money's going to be spent on something else. And I think Saboskis need to speak up because you got a young man right behind you that's lucky to be alive today.
That's right.
Getting off the school bus with this gravel road and the way the dust was and the traffic. Somebody did not see the bus was stopped, did not see the flashing lights because of the dust. And that boy got off the bus and had to cross the road and darn near got hit.
The car took the right, when the bus stops, the car took the right, where he was getting ready to walk off the bus. And she went on the right side of the bus. He had stood there. He could have been hit. Right, Carson?
It's a lot seriouser situation than what you think it is. It's not just people in here complaining about, we don't like driving the dusty conditions. They are safety aspects. I've been in here before about the roads not being maintained correctly, that they come out in the fall time before school and they put fresh rock on the road. They don't grade the road. They don't get rid of go down and cut out the washboard or the potholes. All they're doing is just putting rock into the potholes in the washboard. And the first time you got somebody that drives 50 miles an hour or faster down the road, that rock pops out of the washboard and the potholes, and you've got everything right back there. Now you have these young high school students or even experienced drivers driving down the road and they lose control because of a pothole or a washboard and they're on loose gravel. And it still continues to happen until last year when you came in with wet rock and packed it down. And now we don't have the potholes and the washboard on the road. But they're still, when they grade the road, all they're doing is rolling rock across the top of the road. They are not cutting the road other than when they came in and cut the crown off the road. I really think you need to look at how you're maintaining your roads. The issue we had last year was they graded the dirt up out of the ditches trying to save that little bit of rock that got pushed over there from the snow removal and brought it on. And then we got heavy rains and we had a slurry of slush of dirt and water. It was just, I mean, it was terrible. They came out with road graders and pushed that off to the side of the road just so traffic could get down that road. Then before they came back and put the fresh wet rock on, they came out and drug that dry powdery stuff that was all a slurry, put it right back onto the road, but then they covered it up with this wet rock. I don't know if that's a good base or not for long term, but that's what they did. And I don't know if you supervisors knew what they did there or not, or what, if that was even an issue last year. The slurry mess. I'm telling you, that stuff was that deep. You could not get down it, I don't think, with a two-wheel drive vehicle.
On 110?
On 110.
It was bad. I've been to work every day, it's awful.
I called Bill in the morning and he's talking about, yes, you had to have four-wheel drive to get down the road.
We got so much rain and it could not drain off the road, and it was just a dry, powdery, muddy mess because he pulled that dirt onto the road. And I'm not blaming necessarily the road grader. I think he's being instructed to do this. I'm assuming that we need to pull this dirt up all out of the ditches and raise the road up, trying to get a crown. I don't know. I'm just a bystander, you know. I see what's happening and I have to drive that road every day because I'm telling you, between me and Saboski's, we're the two that have to drive down that road to get to our house. Okay? People in Linby do have an alternate route that they could take to go to Butternut or even to go to Columbine Avenue and then go. But as far as going from the Packwood Road, going west, that's where I'm at. Unless I need to go around to Columbine Avenue and come back up the other way, I guess that's what I need to do. But
What's your name, sir?
Nick Martin, 1352 110th Street. I'm right in the middle. Saboski's are just to the east of me a little bit. 1352.
So guys, what Nick's trying to tell you about Carson, the thing that happened with Carson on 110, it was right after school. I was waiting on semis. I was 20 yards from him. And probably the only reason that he didn't get ran over is I was honking the horn in the vehicle I was in, so he didn't move. I went and put my hand on the Bible, and the young lady that just about ran over her should have gotten in big trouble, and she didn't. But it was a real deal. Like, I was quivering. I was so scared. It was bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, Brandon.
Where we're going with this is we need some help up there. I hear what you're saying, that you got a 200 car count. I hear that. But I see when they do that in the middle of summer when it's dead. I mean, those car counts aren't right. You have to forgive me. I've seen it. I went and drove the pickup on it 100 times to get more counts. You know, it's a joke. It's a joke. Guys, we need some help up there. And if you guys could help us, it would be great. And we know you guys got a tough job because you got other people, other ends of the counties that you're supposed to help too. But it'd be great if you could give us some attention, because we need some.
School buses from other districts use it. Van Buren, instead of doing Butternut, they'll come right past my house instead of turning and taking the over in the right. I mean, to me, you either got to control how they're using, who's using the road after a game or something, or fix the road.
Well, ambulances, like if there's a call up at Pekin, they go by.
Yeah.
And they're going fast. I mean, they do, because they got a call. So it's like they take that road. That's the road they take. The fire trucks take that road. I mean, if there's something going on at Pekin, they take 110. I mean, our son's gonna live there now, but we don't live there. But we lived there for 27 years, and believe me, I saw plenty of dust, and I saw plenty of stuff go down on that road. It was a wreck. I mean, that road needs paved. It just needs paved. I don't care how you pave it, it needs paved.
Well,
And it needs
here's
taken
an
care of.
issue I always have. The gravel gets put down in late August, just before harvest,
Yeah, and it's
and
horrible.
it gets beat to death, and it's gone. Come spring, the gravel's gone. And I don't know if it's contractual agreements or what causes that, but why don't we put it on in the spring when you need it?
Well, you guys have given us a lot of things to think about and to work toward. I appreciate every one of you coming in. I've kind of got a frog in my throat today, so excuse my frog. Anyway,
So I do want to ask a couple of questions of all of you. If we dust proof, which there's no if for that, we will do that. But if we dust proof, are you, as Dwayne indicated, if we do the, what'd you say, Dwayne, 5 inches?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head what we ended up with design.
If we do the blacktop, that's what I call it, blacktop, just kind of put it in perspective. Just on the north edge of Fairfield off the Pleasant Plain Road up to Cambridge. Okay, that's about 3 inches, but it's blacktop, it's an overlay that I just put there. But my question is, and I don't mean to put Wayne on the spot, but I want to ask you guys, if you're willing, if we dust proof this and grade that back up like it should be, are you willing to wait a year or do we do the seal? I agree that what you're saying, you need the pavement, but I also agree, I was not here when they did that original seal of Libby or the one going to Brookville, but I do know, or for that matter, too. And I'm not sure they just didn't want there, just throw out lining chips and oil and seal on it, not do anything on the road base. But I know exactly what you're talking about. It broke up from bad, there was potholes, it was incredibly dangerous. And I begged Tom Goff, and he finally did. He ground up some of that on Brookville and laid it back out. I would like to wait and pave it, legitimately pave it with the blacktop. But what I'm asking you is, are you willing to wait till next construction season if we dust proof it and keep that road rated as best we can, and Dwayne will go up and look at it, see what needs to be done.
I'm afraid, guys, if you don't wait for that, you're just gonna have another hazard. There'll be potholes. Our heavy equipment's gonna destroy it. And then you're just gonna have another hazard of kids being in the ditch.
So what, if I understand you correctly, you're wanting it,
I think you should wait.
okay, that's what I'm asking. And do
Do the dust,
Do it
do
right.
a good dust
Yeah.
control, not just stop at the last on Cedar Avenue, go past. Because you always stopped right at Cedar Avenue and the dust still blew,
I
Clear down.
apologize, I'm not sure we'll see that.
well, Limby.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
East
we're
Street.
gonna dust control, we'll dust control it from Backwood Road.
Well, that'd be great.
And
It's
then I
it'd
think
be
too,
simple.
we can, while we're there, we can do butternut.
I was a first responder for 26 years, Cindy and I both were, and I can think of 3 fatalities that we had on that road just in that period of time. 2 of those should not have happened. It was because of the loose gravel and people don't know how to drive.
They just drive.
And it gets worse and worse. I lay in bed at night, I go to bed early. I hear gravel hit the side of my house, they're driving so fast, so. I don't know how you slow that down, but
Well, I don't know either exactly, but that's what I'm asking. We will make every effort to dust proof on that. If we're willing to wait a year and then you'll get that 5 inches of,
If we get the grant, that's all I'm concerned about, is if you don't get the grant. Or you just forget about the 110. That's what I'm, all that, that's just because of what's happened in the past, and I know you guys didn't have anything to do with the past, but.
No, I guess what I should have clarified that, because that, as Dwayne indicated, then we'll go back to a chip seal. At least it'll be a dust-proof surface, and it'll have to be maintained better than what it was in the past, and that's not to indict anybody, but I think that I'm guessing, but when that was done originally, it was a new program, a new idea, something that had been being tried. And we didn't know a lot about what we were supposed to do underneath it before we did it, and all this and that. I'm speculating, the logic would dictate that we've gotten smarter over the years, and I hope that that's the big one too. But, you know.
I honestly do think it's debatable, because a lot of your machines are computer controlled now, right? Or before it was operator controlled, and the operators were trained,
See, we
and
don't.
they knew what to look for to get a good crown on the road. I'm telling you that your workers today, even me today, are not as experienced of what workers were 30 years ago.
The thing with our graders
They
is
just-
they have the capability to be computer controlled and GPS controlled, but we aren't set up for that, and most counties aren't. They still have to go by, you know, it used to be there was a little meter with a ball in it that sat on the dash of the blade. And when the blade tilted, the little ball would roll in there to tell you what percent it is. Well, now there's a digital meter that does the same thing, but they still have to run everything by hand. Although they do have a setting now that if they're in real rough washboard area, they can hit a button and it will slow down the machine and control the blade so it doesn't bounce, to help take this chatter out of it. But I think we've got 5 blades with that capability. We just found out that they had that this year. The salesman never told us, and we sent Billy over to a camp school. It was like, you know, it was like the light bulb went on, and gosh, we need to be using this. But you know, we do the best we can with what we have. And I know sometimes it seems like we're biting our nose to spite our face, but the guys take a lot of pride in what they do, and they do try awful hard.
At any rate, thanks for coming in today.
And one other thing,
7:30, come on, thank you.
one other thing
So we,
is call us. If you have issues, call us. We have, you know, if your driver has an issue, call us.
I got a tractor, so I just go out when they do that, and I pull the rock back across
Yeah,
the
but
road
then,
and fill in the
how
ditch.
am I gonna know to tell Shaggy to do something different?
Because anytime I came in here and said anything before, it seems like the situation always gets worse, because I'm complaining about a worker. And what best, you know, then you get onto that worker about something, and how's he gonna handle the situation? Well, some of them will do a better job, and other ones will think, oh, that SOB got me in trouble.
I try awful hard to be more coaching than ass chewing. Sorry, I think I was recording.
It's okay, we got a jar here.
But, you know, if we don't know we're doing something wrong, we can't fix it.
And my driveway's a minor thing, it's the road that needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
But I just use that as an example as far as I'm cutting the crown on the road, that if you're cutting a ridge before it can get to the ditch, the water's not gonna get to the ditch until it gets to the bottom of the hill, and then you're washing out the side of the road.
So what I'm hearing is that we're okay to wait, rather than seal it this year, to wait to pave it, put a legitimate pavement on it next year, and we'll dust proof it and maintain it. And then if for some reason that grant, and I guarantee you this, you put it in writing, it's being recorded. If it doesn't, if the grant doesn't come through, I anticipate that it will, but if it doesn't, we still go back to chip seal on that.
We'll just add that to next year's program.
Can you guys file for an extension so you can make concrete?
Well, the issue, there's several issues there, as he indicated. One is, of course, the cost goes up exponentially, but also with our match requirements, and then the engineering aspect of it also increases, not from Dwayne, but and I give you a perfect example. We have guardrails out on Pleasant Plain Road because of some pinhead sitting in Washington that never drove Pleasant Plain Road, and because we've used federal funds. And so now you can't get a car and a combine down the road at the same time. And the ditches and the whole 9 yards cost us $2 million to do that short stretch on Osage. And our circumstances are such with what's happened in the legislature this year and the state legislature is that our revenue sources are being cut. I think everybody is fully on board with property tax relief, but it does impact things. And so one of the things that Dwayne has to do is we have to look at the funds that we have from external sources, i.e. farm to market money and STP funds, or what I call STP funds, which are federal dollars. And we have to program those out. And so I would much rather see 5 inches of blacktop on that road with the base stabilization and everything, obviously than a seal coat. And is concrete the best? I'm not an engineer. I don't know. I understand where you're coming from, but I do not think that you'll be disappointed in the blacktop.
And drive 125th and Packwood Road and take a close look at those pavements and tell me you want concrete. I know what to do with Pleasant Plain Road, Dowds Road. I know how to fix those if they start having issues. Packwood Road's gonna be $8 million to rehab.
Is it a deal where throughout time, we've gotten better with asphalt is what I'm hearing from you, right? Have we done the same with concrete where it could be better too? Or did we forget how to learn 30 years ago?
The concrete pavements they made back in the 60s and 50s are 50-year pavements. The concrete pavements they make now are 25 or 30.
Part of the
And
problem,
it's, the asphalt industry has tried for years to make their product better. The concrete industry has tried for years to make their product less expensive. Start adding fly ash. Now they're removing Portland cement, not only replacing it with fly ash, but also with just lime.
So is there an engineering way to make it go back to the old way and not use that product?
Because the state's bought into it. So I can't specify the old type 1 concrete because it's not available. The industry just said, we're not going to make it.
believe it or not, even though it's a county road, we are beholden to the state and they have to sign off on almost everything we do.
So you guys can't do your own mix and say I'm paying for it and I want it done this way.
They don't have the Portland cement like that.
The other thing is they don't make, generally speaking, the cement is not as thick as it's 50 years.
So can you make it?
The cost.
I'm being a little ornery here, okay?
No, you're
But
good. You're good.
if there's a will, there's a way
I'm
to
used
do
to
things
Susan,
better.
so-
And I'm all about doing things better because I got the next 50, 60 years, hopefully, maybe not, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
We all don't know, but we gotta go in at things. I'd rather spend more money and have a better product than try to cheapen things up and spread it out over more.
And I would say to you this, and I please forgive me, I'm not trying to be flippant. I have agreed with you 150% if I had the money to spend, and I don't. And so what we're trying to do is to get the best product possible for the funds that we have available to us, that both from farm to market money and STP funds, because we don't have it in our regular county tax dollar budget. And that's not finding fault with anybody. If we had to live strictly on our county budget, as far as what we appropriate to roads, we wouldn't get anything done. So we're beholden to both federal and state governments to provide the funds because that's the system that they set up.
Is there more grants to go after to be able to have more roads?
That I can't answer. In some
Can we
instances,
hire somebody to help us find more grants? that
I've
we're not doing?
applied for $20 million in grants in the last year.
and so is everybody else for the.
Here's what I worry about, guys. I'm a farmer and all the farmers up and down that road, I don't care who they are, all the farmers. I just don't want to be coming in here 2 or 3 years from now saying, I told you so.
Right.
I don't like to say that. I don't want to say that. But
I don't
that's what
want
I'm
you to say
worried.
that.
That's what I'm worried about here. That's why I'm asking all the questions I'm asking. And giving me, it costs too much, that doesn't work with me. I need to know numbers, guys. And you guys should need to know them too, not let somebody just say, oh, it's gonna be a lot of money. Well, how much is a lot? You guys need to know that. For our whole benefit, because it's the taxpayers' money that we're spending.
Well, Dwayne just said a little bit ago that the grant was for 5 million to do that 5 inches of over, 5 inches of blacktop, and you can pretty much double that to do concrete.
Do you know that for a fact though?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a bid to prove it?
No, I don't have.
Well,
a
then
bid
you-
to prove it, but I-
That's what I'm getting at,
Okay,
is you
so let
have
me-
to have
all
a
right,
bid.
fine. So let me tell you, we took $2.4 million road projects off the table this year because it came in $800,000 higher than projections. And we had one bid. One bid.
What do you gotta do to get more bids? Cause
There's
too expensive doesn't work. It's not saying how much. You gotta know, you gotta let the public know what it is. Majority of the public's fine, but I'm that 1% that wants to know the exact amount, guys. And the 1% matters too.
Well, I get that, but by the same token, to do everything that you're asking costs money because we have to pay engineering to get those bids and put those bids out and then not do the projects. That was not free.
There isn't anything in life free, guys.
Exactly, but we spent that money and like I said, we got one bid and it was multiple roads. It wasn't just one road. And it came in 33% higher than what we projected. And part of that is simply because there's so much work out there to be done that I don't want to say we're a captive audience, but they can pick and choose what it is they want to do. And essentially, I mean, I don't know how else to explain it. I understand where you're coming from. And I frankly, I told our state senator and our 2 reps, this is exactly what we're going to get into by doing what you did in the legislative session. Is everybody wants their property taxes cut, which is direct revenue, and I understand the grant things, but everybody else is doing exactly the same thing because they have exactly the same problem that we have, which is that we don't have the revenue coming in, but people still want the services. And I can appreciate that too. So we can borrow money, which we have done in the past and we're currently paying on. We borrowed $6 million to do some roads. And Germanville was one of them that was incredibly unsafe, had been for years. And as he indicated, he's written for grants. He's been successful on this one. From what I gathered from Senator Dickey, it's been approved. It's just a matter of getting it funded, which is out of our control. So that's the other thing. You can write for grants, and as long as they're funded, getting approved does not mean that the grants are funded. There's a difference there. And so all of us worked on that process of getting that grant approved. I firmly believe, and the other thing is that if we do that blacktop, putting a new layer of blacktop on top of it will be significantly cheaper than having to go in and redo the concrete, because you've got one of 2 ways, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dwayne. You either go in and bust up the concrete and pour new, or you put an overlay over the top of the concrete.
I think we should in public comments now, but.
I really
we've gotta-
appreciate you all.
Yeah,
I
we
really do.
really do.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to be difficult.
No,
I know that. I
If
know
I'm
that.
where you're at, I'm doing the same thing. Okay?
At any rate, thank you for coming. Please contact any one of us. Talk to Dwayne. Take Dwayne out in the hall and chew on him,
I'll take my hit, I'm leaving.
Thank you.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I know. The one thing we need to remember, the public comments are to listen, for us to listen. When we engage in a conversation, sometimes it gets worse. All right, where are we at now?
Motion to adjourn.
No. Discuss and consider hiring Judy Heisel.
You were doing your Did you finish with your update?
I lost my train of thought, but
I thought he was done with the
Okay.
update, and that's why we
Oh.
moved on to public comments.
oh, well, that-
So discuss and consider hiring Judy Heisel as the county ambulance base manager. Also, I'll say one thing before we vote on that. We advertised for you
yes,
months ago on Indeed.
that's correct.
It just came out on Indeed. I don't know what they're doing,
Wow.
but they are slow. 4 days ago, it came out on Indeed, your position.
I got it
Getting
too.
Getting you good applicants?
Not from Indeed.
Not on my Christmas list this year.
So I guess so that brings me to, did you use Indeed for Judy?
Did not
Mrs.
use
Heisel.
Indeed.
So who did you use?
I used the paper,
Local.
the
Yeah, I saw
local
them.
paper, and I used the hospital as well as here.
So we had talked about a month ago about putting it on the IMSO website.
That's correct. But I,
And so why can't we do that?
You can now because we paid the dues.
that's correct.
Right. Could
That's
we do
correct.
that?
Yes. Yes, I can. But I need a base manager, you know, to help out. It doesn't mean they're going to, whether or not they work out, I don't know. Yes, I can advertise if that's the will of the board. But I would prefer to proceed.
And you'll have to excuse my voice. So was that the only applicant you had?
That's correct. And it was advertised at the hospital for what, 20 days. Here it was up for a month.
Yeah.
And then in the paper ran for 10 days as well. in
Yeah, and
three
it's
counties.
nothing against the applicant, but it's just a month ago we talked about, it's the process. You know, putting
We
it.
weren't concerned about the process, Steve, when you hired Melissa at the engineer's office. And this is not an indictment of Melissa, but you didn't follow any kind of process. We followed,
I
no,
don't
no,
think.
no, no, no.
Lee,
We followed the process here. And the situation is that it went advertised in 3 counties where there's 3 ambulance services. Sorry, not true, 2 ambulance services, Henry County and Washington County, plus the hospital's website or whatever you use. Okay, we had an applicant. I'm not sure what the issue is that we didn't have any problems with using her when we needed her and we needed her expertise. And now for some reason you have a concern?
no, wait a minute, Lee, now I have questions. How did we use Judy or Miss Heisel?
Well, we asked for their expertise when we went to the building, to go through the building. She was here at the meetings helping us out, and we didn't have a problem with that. I'm not saying we used her in terms of,
Yeah, I just, it's just a question,
right,
just a question.
So I got a question. Are you and Judy related?
no,
Okay, somebody let you know.
no.
I'll find out.
I have a daughter-in-law, well, she's not actually a daughter-in-law. I have my son's significant other is an EMT from Texas. We don't micromanage, we didn't micromanage Scott, we don't micromanage
Right,
Dwayne when they
that's why I
hire.
wanted to clarify what process was used. It's
Lee-
not,
Lee,
it's
I
not
think
the
it's just
person, it's
a-
the process.
He went through the county attorney, he went through Jack. I don't know what more you can ask for.
I think, no, Lee, I think the total thing, I've been hearing things, comments, and so I just wanted, everybody can hear them now, they can hear the answers. Okay. When would she start?
June 1st for contingent of the drug test coming back today.
Okay, what about the physical?
Everything else is passed. So I do have records for that as well.
Okay.
But I'm more than happy to take comments from the board. I mean, if y'all want me to advertise more, I'm willing to do that. I'm just saying that
What would advertising more do? What would it really do?
Well,
delay the process.
it would delay the process, yes.
Because it would take another month before we could be in that same position. Is that correct?
Yes. And hiring a base manager the 1st of June will help me not have to buy that duplicating machine that I was looking at and
The what machine?
duplicate myself twice
Oh.
to be in 2 places at one time. It's kind of expensive and I'm already into my house, several $1,000s. It would help to relieve me of some issues.
So,
that,
and this is my curiosity.
yes, ma'am.
I know Ms. Heisel is working somewhere now. Was she gonna have to give a notice of that?
She has commented to me, and that has been brought up. She would like to do both. She'll be working nights there and only require 40 hours a week. So if that becomes an issue, it will be addressed.
So how much of a notice does she need to get there?
She's not given notice, sir.
She's doing.
I mean, they're
both.
aware that she's taking a position here if hired.
So what you're saying is, if it becomes an issue, we win.
Oh, we always win. Yes. We'll win.
Okay, so I'm confused. So she's working nights and then she'd be working days when she couldn't sleep.
That is a good question. I don't know when she'll go to sleep, but she claims she can handle it. If it becomes an issue, it will be addressed way before we open up.
Yeah, because I don't want anything to stand in the way of this ambulance service.
That's correct.
I'm sorry. They
No,
can get
that's
it.
correct. No, the ambulance service comes first, regardless of base manager, regardless of so it will come first, and I will assure you of that. Yeah, again, if it becomes an issue in any way, shape, or form, I will handle it and be addressed, and we'll carry on.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the hiring of Judy Heisel as base manager for Jefferson County Ambulance.
Much.
Huh?
How much?
How much?
65.
Is that a normal wage or an average wage for?
It's 20,000 less than my salary has been.
Okay, I just want to make sure everybody can hear it.
Yeah, your paramedics are gonna be in the $50,000 range or higher based on overtime.
The amount of responsibility and the experience that she brings to the table, I think is fair. And based upon other base managers that I have supervised before, that is normal.
She'll also work truck. Not
Yeah,
exclusively, she'll-
That's correct. Just like me, if we run short, I will get on the truck as well as she will.
So,
So we would be covered.
so Lee could never do that because he's short, is that what you're saying?
He couldn't get on the truck. No. It's a big
I
step.
couldn't
Yeah,
see
I
over,
guess.
Susie, I couldn't see over the steering wheel. Go ahead and say it.
It's a big step up, so,
You have a motion. I don't know if you have a second, but you have a motion.
I'll second that motion. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm sorry. I have
Judy, if
to-
you're listening, congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. I already have an appointment. I have to be in the city at 10, so give me a few minutes to get on Zoom.
Okay.
That's great.
You have to go to the bathroom for a minute. She goes.
I'll wait. Okay, just 5 minutes.
And I'm okay with the medical director.
Okay.
Or else wait till I.
Yeah, I don't know that we can do that.
Well, we don't have anything to vote on today anyway, right?
Like that.
See you
And why,
Okay.
what's up with the medical director?
We don't have a contract yet.
3 cents short.
Right. I'm waiting on the malpractice.
Okay, so we can table the medical director.
Chauncey has all the information, but we can't.
Unless
Well-
he's reached out.
I've been emailing with Joe Vins. What
Okay.
he'd like to see is just a draft of what we're looking for and what our contract's gonna look like.
Okay.
So I can put together a draft. You shoot me some numbers. I
I
can
sure
put together
will.
a draft this afternoon and we can get that to Joe. Essentially, Joe says there could be a hangup with ICAP, but if so, there's a private avenue. So he's gonna get some various numbers if that is an issue.
That's where I got the numbers too, was to private, because I figured she'd get her own malpractice insurance, but
And I would strongly encourage that we just reimburse her if that's the
Yes.
case, that we
That's what
don't
I-
buy her insurance,
that
but
was what I was thinking.
And,
Yeah.
and me too.
yeah.
So also in that agreement, however you write it up, should be, I would guess, a 60-day out clause for both parties.
Okay, and if I get the board's leave, I can just put together a draft and shoot it to Joe as a working document, and it's not necessarily binding, it's just kind of something that he can take to private insurers to get authorization.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, 60 days, you're okay with 60 days?
Still.
66, right? He says-
Is he asking you and me?
Well, he's looking at you.
Were you looking at me?
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
I know I'm short.
Yes, I'm okay with 60 days. Sorry about
I'm sitting right behind you.
that. I know.
But you're taller than I am. I couldn't see.
Oh, my goodness. So
The table of this,
the
right?
yes, table it and the county attorney will work on it. So we can move forward with Dr. Moreno. Just a sidebar. We got to quit talking about Melissa. It's been over a year.
No, it has nothing to do with it. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay.
I'm talking about when we start talking about a process that we didn't follow, and then we get this holier than thou attitude, I have an issue. Okay, you gotta be consistent.
You know, looking at you and thinking holier than thou, I'm
Well,
not
that's
sure where
true.
that's
Good
coming from.
point.
Okay. Anyway, to move on with the real business, and I apologize for letting everybody talk, but we didn't want them sitting down here for an hour and a half. Meet with the county engineer, whoever that is today.
You don't have to run away.
Oh,
I sat here for moral support for you.
You're up here, you're done.
Oh, I'm done?
Yeah.
All right.
Good luck.
Thanks. Lee,
You leaving? Take care.
as the county's ADA representative and coordinator, if you need a step stool to get up on the truck, it will be provided, as well as a booster seat.
Okay.
Make sure that it's handrails and he'd like it in the
I
light
get the
blue.
booster seat, then I can't reach the pedals.
We'll put blocks on the pedals,
Okay.
if you can operate it safely.
Well, that might be a question too.
It'll leave back in the old days when the people down south were shining. They would put additions on the bottom of the shoes that make it look like cow hooves so people couldn't track them. I don't know why that came up.
That's,
It made them taller.
most of the folks were gone last week, so we didn't get a whole lot accomplished. Guys were taking advantage of their comp time and vacation to make a longer weekend. We did get our first supply of calcium chloride for dust control, so we do have material available for that. See, the DOT has ceased using 120th as a detour route. So we had the paperwork for them ceasing use of that as a detour, and I had I went through and counted cracks and patch areas and worked up a report for them on what I feel is fair compensation for their use of that. They're going to review that and get back to me, I hope sometime soon. I stopped on my way home last week by LL Pelling's office in North Liberty, since they weren't returning my phone calls, and sat in their office until they could give me at least a tentative start date for our auto seal project on Nutmeg and the county chip seal project. They should have a grade crew down here last week of June. Get started on that, so hopefully we'll be doing most of the work in July. Happy? Let's see, they're getting the bridge rail set up on Cedar Avenue Bridge for the first pour on that. Other than that, it's pretty well lit.
Thank you very much.
And I'll discuss with Shaggy his grading on that.
Yeah.
So we'll probably have to, would be my guess, you tell me, what would be my guess, if it's really dusty now, and I don't know if planning's mostly over, but we dust proof it now, we're still gonna have to dust proof it before school starts.
That's generally we do a midsummer and then a fall. It tends to work better if it's rain, but I don't think we're gonna see rain for a while. Forecast.
Look at my yard, it needs water.
Yeah, it does.
I can't afford to water it, but
Well, not with you drinking like that, no.
I know.
Let's see, we had a couple weeks off on the contract rock because everybody seemed to be out of rock. And now we're back on in Quinn's district around Prairie and Prairie City, hauling that out of wind corn. We'll finish that once I shut their office up for sale, sir. Winds.
Noticed that too.
I know he was in discussions with a possible buyer last winter or the end of last summer, but I'm not privy to how that's progressing. Maybe they're just consolidating. I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I just noticed it when I was up there the other day.
So moving on. Set date and time for public hearing on vacating roadways in Salina. Did Shannon suggest a date?
This was apparently from a conversation with John Morrissey last week. I want to say Shannon told me June 26th was what he had said, but I didn't listen to that meeting, so and he's not here.
Mike Brown?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
you're not wrong. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, Mike stopped
No,
in,
don't tell me.
he had the paperwork or whatever, and the works and wanted us to set a date for public hearing to vacate Rabbit.
Something
I always want
with
to say
Rabbit.
Rabbit Ridge, but.
I want to say Rabbit Run. Anyway, so we'll set that for June the 26th, which is what day? Okay, at 9 a.m. I just need a second.
You do?
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
By saying aye.
Aye.
Heidi.
Aye.
Okay. Next item is to discuss and consider the county bid process.
Ooh, we got tons of stuff here.
So I think this came up because it used to be all the bids would come to the auditor's office and get open there, and somehow that's gone by the wayside. So we just want to review the process.
Can't hear you, Dee.
You faded out.
Oh, sorry. We just wanted to review the process, what that is.
I think what, if I heard it right, I think what she's talking about is that for years, all the bids for everything would come into the auditor's office, be date and time stamped. And then they would be opened in here. Usually if it was contractors, if it was the courthouse project or whatever. And the contractors that had submitted the bids would know when the opening date was. And what had equipment or roads. We went through this an awful lot with the courthouse project, because there was just a whole lot of stuff that went on there at that point in time. Somewhere along the way, we deviated from that process. And Dee, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the board is thinking we need to go back to that process.
That's right.
Where it goes, so when bids or RFPs are sent out, that there's a date and a time by which the bids have to be in. And then they don't open them. They're not open, they're sealed bids, but they're date and time stamp. So that we have proof that it got in when it was supposed to be here. So I don't know, Chauncey or Elizabeth, do we have to have something, do you think, in writing?
If that's your policy, that's frankly the way it should be anyway. I don't know that you need anything in writing, but what does need to be in writing is the bid process on the bids.
Okay.
So going forward, the place of submission needs to be the auditor's office no later than noon on, 21st, whatever it is, right?
Right.
And so in order to have your competitive bid accepted, it needs to go through the process. So that process should be in every bid material, but I don't see any reason why you need to put that in writing. That's just the way that frankly, that was the way I assumed we still did things.
So when we publish the RFP, then it'll say in that publish, whether it's in the newspaper or on engineers' websites or ambulance websites or whatever, when we're asking for bids.
Bids shall be submitted no later than X date
Right.
to the Jefferson County Auditor's Office for anticipated opening on Y date.
And
right?
you need to advertise between 13 and 45 days before the filing and opening.
Okay.
Yeah, is your office good with that?
That's how it always used to be.
When did it change?
I honestly,
I mean, I don't know. It just, I don't know. I think it just became.
This is not a change in policy, it's just a reiteration of our standing policy.
Right. Yeah. And I think part of it is born out of you heard these folks this morning, we should know. And that's not an indictment of anybody, but it's difficult to ask the question or to answer the questions if you don't know what the process was. And I can remember probably one of the reasons that we even did this for Contract Rock, because we had a conversation with one of the quarries regarding Beatty City. And they were a penny higher than the other bidder. And so the other bidder got the contract. In this case, it was state dollars, so it must have been farm and market roads or whatever. And the state requires you to take the low bidder. And so explaining to the one entity was that I agree it's only a penny, but if you can lower it a penny, and then you would fall under the threshold. It didn't work out that way.
Well, and the other thing is it improves transparency.
I'm sorry.
Improves, makes more
Yeah,
transparent.
no, I agree. So,
my only question or ask, I guess, is if there are bids coming to our office, let us know, because we used to get them and not know when the deadline was.
yeah.
So we'd have to ask, so just.
Okay. So I don't know, if Chauncey or Elizabeth, I'll just go ahead and make a motion that we.
I would advise, we don't need a motion because we're not changing policy.
Okay,
We've always had this policy. right?
Okay.
We just are reiterating that this is
Reiterating
a
that
call.
that policy is that all bids will be submitted to the auditor's office to be date and time stamped.
Yep. I assume, the way most bids come from your office, probably.
Yeah, and I think the issue is, and I don't know how long it's been a number of years, is for maintenance projects, the state has allowed the engineers to take bids at their offices. So when I was in my other job, anything that was maintenance, we drop them off at the county engineer's office. If it was construction, a lot of times if it was construction, it went through the DOT bid process. And we're pretty much that way. You know, we have taken maintenance bids in the past, and when we did our contract rock, it was through the FM system, but on that, because the DOT considers it maintenance, we took the bids in at the office and had an opening there with all the bidders and went through the halls and everything to make sure that they were all on board with the way we were doing things.
How many of those do you think you put out a year? A couple dozen?
Good Lord.
More?
2.
Oh, okay.
We'll do a contract rock. And last year we did a patch and crack fill.
Okay.
And this year the contract rock's basically going to be it. I think everything else we do this year will go through the DOT line.
Okay. Any
Well,
concerns? Looping the auditor's office?
What's that?
Any concerns about the looping?
No, my question though is, so do we want to do this as well for equipment purchase?
Yeah, I think so.
Anything over 10,000, anything over 5, what do you?
Well, I think it can get pretty involved as far as that part of it goes, but I definitely think equipment purchases and stuff. I mean, I don't know if we need to get, I don't think we ever got that deep in the weeds as far as $5,000 or $10,000 goes, but
isn't there a handout in the packet on it that details it?
when it talks about cities less than and greater than and counties less than, greater than, a competitive bid process, if it's horizontal versus vertical, 65 to 100 to 96. So I don't know. I do think that if we get over, I don't know, I would feel like if we get over $25,000, we should know about it. And it should be in the public video. Not that it's not, that didn't sound right.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and this isn't just the engineer, this is for everybody,
Oh,
every
right, it's for everybody.
So we should probably, the three of us, talk about this when we're all together at some point.
Okay.
So we should look at this that was handed out and decide if that's what we want. Okay?
Yeah.
Is that good, Dee?
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna move on.
And maybe as a general guide, there was a procurement policy that was approved for it's a county procurement policy. Maybe that's something that as a jumping off point to look at.
Okay.
Not specifically for state and federal grant monies.
Right.
That you approved,
Oh, yeah.
Sean?
Yeah.
but it's something that we could look at.
Okay.
So the next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider selling the Packwood shed through bids.
Speaking of which,
So here we go.
We had an inquiry from somebody who was interested in buying it, so we thought this should go out for bid. If we want to sell it, do we want to sell it?
I think we're be interested in selling it to be demolished and hauled off site and however they choose to use it. If they want to rebuild it on another site, I don't think we want to get rid of the property because it's on the same lot that our new shed sits on.
Yeah, so you're saying we can sell the shed, but not the land.
Correct.
They have to move the sheds.
okay.
And I'd like to make sure we're finished using it before we sell it.
You're so difficult.
Yeah.
I was gonna say damn, but I didn't have any money.
No, probably better not.
So I won't say damn.
So do you want to table this till next week until we have time to work on an actual bid?
Well, I think you would know what you wanted for.
Yeah.
Or
Anything above zero.
well, and maybe if we give it away for the cost of removal, I don't know. We'd have to discuss.
I think
that.
we'd have to have something, even if it's $5.
Okay.
So, something.
Well, if, I think somebody has approached Billy as well on that.
Are they wanting the building where it sets? to
No,
use it?
I think they want to demo it, haul it off and rebuild it on their property. So I think there's no reason we shouldn't look at, basically make it fair.
Okay.
So instead of just, well, my buddy wants it, so we'll give him a discount on it. or, he'll-
So we
he'll haul it away.
will take action on it next week.
Okay.
Okay?
Is that all right, Dee?
Yes, it is.
Next item on the agenda is to discuss and consider reinstatement of disposal system contractor's license for Myers Excavating LLC.
And we all got an email from Dan that he's okay with it.
Yeah, I would make a motion to approve reinstatement.
Second,
Motion approved by Dimmitt, second by Sandquist. All in favor?
Aye.
I,
So this is the current version, right?
Yes.
Yes. And Abby has went over it.
Okay.
Which something is gonna have to be changed
Of course, of course.
because Darcy could explain it more and better, I suppose, but
What page is that?
I'm trying to find it in this one. The vacation and sick leave is not at an hourly rate anymore, it's an average.
What page is that?
23.
And they changed that, right?
It's because of the financial system, it's how they had to, I don't know how to explain it, it's how they had, ERP is based on, what did they say, units rather than hours.
Okay. And that's problematic, right?
It's not, so like, I'll use myself as an example, I get 4 weeks of vacation, so that equals 150 hours. And so each time, rather than basing it on the number of hours worked, I just get an average of 6.25 vacation hours every time, rather than like 5.7 all the way to 6.92. It's an average every time, and if you take 6.25 times 24, it equals 150.
So it's every pay period instead of by the hour.
Basically. It's an average, so every single time you're earning the exact same.
Okay, so I frankly don't care how we do it. But it used to be when you did it this way, a person worked 8 hours and they accumulated so much, and then if they needed time off the next day, they already had accumulated. So now we're not doing that.
It is, kind of. You're still getting hours, it's just an average.
Right, but you don't get it to pay period.
And Shannon said, you know, what if someone earns it and then leaves and they earn too much because that time they should have only earned like 5.77 or whatever.
And when we change this, why?
It's running through ERP from 10. It's how it was set up. I can go get Darcy if you want to.
I just mean, is it because of the new software?
Yes.
Okay. We can't do it the other way, is what you're saying.
I don't know that we can't do it the other way, just saying that's how it's set up
Why don't
now.
we get Darcy and ask her?
Okay.
I can say other places I've worked have done the same thing, so I think it's a common practice.
always worked, you didn't get anything for a year.
That's how it was when I first started.
I mean,
So you made a
that's called
comment
private sector.
that you have worked here like forever, 13 years.
It'll be 12 in August.
And I'm giving an. I'm
She was
giving
two
an
when she
amnesia.
started.
Yeah,
It's just a baby.
and so you accumulate 150 in it. Well, but 4 times 40 is 100. Oh, it's at 37. Okay, I just figured it out.
You want to explain the average deal with vacation and sick leave and how that works in the new system? Because I'm failing at it.
Sure, so the old system took the actual hours worked in a pay period, whether we had 10 days or 12 days in a pay period, and used those hours. The new system is taking an average based on, like for the law center, for example, what shift they work on. So some of them have 8 or 9 hour shifts. Here at the courthouse, we have 7.5 hour shifts. So they take that average that we would work through the year and base the vacation and sick accrual on those average hours. Now, instead of somebody having maybe 4.96 hours of vacation earned on this check, because there was 12 days in the pay period, then the next check, there was only 10 days, so maybe it was 3.5 hours. Now it's going to be a set amount each time. They're not going to see it vary. The vacation and sick hours that they accrue on each paycheck will be the same.
So this applies to sick leave as well. Is that right?
Yes. Mhm. Sick and vacation and
Everybody's would be the same on that, right?
how it accrues, yep, is all based on that average.
Okay. And so how does overtime play into that? Or does it? Because these guys work a bit of overtime on occasion.
So I guess I'm not sure, do you guys earn vacation and sick on overtime hours?
I don't think so. I just get the time and a half. They just earn.
Yeah.
You'd have to ask Melissa to be sure.
Because technically, if you're accruing by the hour, you should.
As a general rule, our guys take their overtime as comp time. So, there's only, the 23 people, I think there might be 2 of them that actually take the time and a half.
Okay.
So then the other question is, and that's, and I appreciate that, Darcy. Do we have to, let's get that corrected. And certainly can't send it out.
Are you looking in at the handbook? What
Yes.
it says in there? I hadn't had a chance to pull that and look. That was,
It's just stating the old way that it's,
yeah, that accrual rate.
which it all equals out to the same. It's just how
Adding up per paycheck.
it doesn't match now.
I mean, you're asking everybody to read it and to sign off on it, and if it's not the same, even though it's the same, you arrive at the same destination, you take a different route to get there.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, everybody's caps are still the same, what they earn throughout the years. It's just showing.
Madam Chair?
Well, I guess I was sitting there thinking, why can't we keep the old way? If there'd just be this one thing, that'd be a question for you.
Yeah, I mean, we can't.
Okay.
The system's built now.
Sure, that's okay. I just had to ask. So we should table this.
Well, if we're gonna change, and I have no problem with how it accrues,
Yeah.
I just think it needs to be.
I can show
expressed.
my consultant this page in our handbook and say, what would you change, get her opinion on how she would word it or change it.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you do that?
Because she's super helpful and
Which, that's great.
So
And
far, we like her, right?
I love her.
Good.
so while we're on the subject of handbook, I got a question. So Wayne, does the road department, it seems like in the past, I remember that we, I don't know, for lack of a better way, we provided an equipment allowance like once a year for boots or whatever?
They did before I got here, and then reading the handbook, we quit that, and we are required to provide them PPE. And that includes safety boots.
Right.
So when their boots are wore out, they bring in their boots and show me that they're wore out. They go buy a new pair of boots, we reimburse them. And then we provide gloves, vests, hard hats, glasses, anything
The
like
reason
that.
I brought this up is because there's a specific requirement for a specific type of boot in the medical world. And I didn't know whether or not, since uniforms were required, I'm asking the attorney since they're here, that we provide the uniforms.
Well, there's a difference between PPE and a uniform. I don't think that Dwayne requires his crew to be in uniform per se, but
Just
We would require the
decent
ambulance
clothes.
oh, the ambulance crew. Okay. Well, sure. If the outfits, are regulated and uniform, then that would call for a uniform allowance, I suppose.
Okay, so I didn't know, we've not had this discussion. So, but I figured it would have to be in the handbook, maybe not. I don't know. That's why I'm asking, since we're talking about the handbook.
It wouldn't have to be in the handbook. Most, I can think of, well, now 2 departments that in this county that have uniforms instead of up from just one,
Okay.
There's no provision in the handbook about sheriff's office uniforms, so.
Oh, yeah. That's why you guys get the big bucks, right? I don't think of this. Cool, okay.
Okay, we've got, rather
So we
start,
table that, right?
yes. So let's take a pause until 9 when we open the public hearing, if anybody has to go do anything.
Is yours, right? Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
No problem.
I don't have to wait, but I'll go. Susie, what would we do without it? Come on.
I don't know.
Oh.
Ray, when he leaves, lock the door.
Memorial Day.
It was-
Balls events, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go to any example, yeah. The one here in Fairfield, Lockridge had one. I don't know if Disney had one or not.
I didn't hear.
Yeah, I didn't.
I know that
Very much.
idiot threw a.
Good.
Susie? Hey, Susie.
Yeah,
Hey, what time's the insurance meeting this afternoon? I'm sorry.
1:30.
1:30.
1:30. Is that gonna be a Zoom option or no?
My bad.
It could be, I don't know.
I was happy outside.
It doesn't matter to me. I just need to know what I'm doing.
Okay.
Do you need me for the 9th?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. I've got a ship upstairs and I got
Chris, if we have people wanting to get on, I suppose we should let them on.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, next year. Thinking,
Oh, God.
since I was thinking the same thing. And pretty soon the deputies come walking down the streets. They went down. I saw somebody must have heard them up front. I just wouldn't have heard them. No, I asked Abby. She said she heard it. They said that they think the mother was covered for one of the kids, but.
Oh,
But
so
anyway,
it's more like a kid prank than.
well, yeah, but that, the shrapnel. coming off of that.
Oh, yeah. They're terrible.
Yeah.
Abby,
Yes.
is Susan Muntz sick?
What?
Susan Muntz passed away.
What?
Friday.
What?
She was up
Do
to
we need it on-
university, I don't know.
On our Zoom.
Rusty's wife.
Yes. I heard she had back pain at the beginning of the week. And they took her to the ER and gave her pain meds and it wasn't making her feel better. And she ended up at the U. Was in the ER for 12 hours and they told her her liver and kidneys were failing.
No.
And I hired her.
I worked with her for a lot of years and she was at DHS.
So my Christmas card list.
Poor Rusty.
Yeah, a lot of blowouts.
I literally had a friend from the town.
Oh, no,
and a
no,
friend
none,
who
none.
Was from Iowa. He
Just
was
on
wife
Packwood
down
Road.
there. Killed.
So
Did
you
they,
know,
did they get up and take care of those?
you know, they tarred and gravelled from, the first road south. Packwood. But that one that we talked about on the south side, it looks like somebody poured some tar in it, but it's still,
Gravel.
well, I mean, it's still, I had it this morning, in fact.
This
when I was
is
thinking
just
about
info.
it, you
That's what was.
Let's
Go up
published
there
in
and
the
take a peek
paper.
at it.
Yeah.
And
There
that's
are
what we
several.
do If anyone asks.
know,
We need to find a better way to answer something different to do with those, but
Yep.
it's just.
Yep.
To the first conversation.
It's just the nature of the beast.
Okay. We got about a minute before we need to go into public
It's
hearing.
9:01.
Oh. Abby says it's time.
I make a motion to open public hearing.
I second that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
The resolution.
These are for this
Thank you.
public hearings for the budget amendment,
Correct.
appropriation by service area.
Yep.
It's been published. I've not heard any comments. I don't know.
No. Do we have any public comments at this time? Do we have any public comments at this time? Do we have any public comments at this time? Hearing none.
Need a motion to close the public hearing, so I'll make that motion.
Motion to close the public hearing by Dimmitt, seconded by Drish. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now what?
Well, if you, I will go down through the list if you want me to, as far as the changes.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
Okay. So it says, now therefore be it resolved by the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors that the 2022-2023 fiscal year county budget be amended as follows. Intergovernmental will go from $7,485,157 to $6,363,524,000. License permits will go from 24,900 to 28,830. Charges for service will go from $1,857,200 to $453,648. Miscellaneous, $65,462 to $116,634. Public safety and social services from $4,294,114 to $4,475,598. Physical health and social services from $882,456 to $949,459. County environment and education, $824,667 to $844,371. Roads and transportation from $5,385,588 to $5,160,000. Administration from $5,123,790 to $4,278,180. Capital projects from $2,076,000 to $25 to $1,151,025. The amendment does not increase the taxes to be collected in the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023. Be it further resolved that the scheduled proposed expenditures by department be appropriated as follows to the various county departments for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023. Board of Supervisors, $29,704. The county sheriff, $138,944. County engineer, reduced by $1,150,588. Veterans Affairs, $11,640, and Board of Health, $49,713. District Court, $13,190. County Ambulance, $25,000. And non-departmental, minus $845,610, for a reduction overall of $1,728,007. I would make a motion to approve these amendments as presented.
Second that motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to the next item is to just make committee reports.
So I had 1015 Transit and RPA last Thursday. What else did I have? I took my truck in, get it fixed. We met with the county attorney. Brian and I did last Tuesday. We ostensibly were to have a meeting with Bob Levy to discuss a time frame by which we could take possession of the ambulances prior to the end of the contract, 24, 48 hours. Also, if we could purchase supplies, et cetera, other equipment from Bob to fully stock the ambulances, to be ready to hit the ground running. We were to meet at 1 o'clock at the county attorney's office. It was set up by Bob Levy's attorney, Steve Ort, and nobody showed up except Brian and I and Elizabeth and our county attorney. So we subsequently called Mr. Levy. Yeah, he said he was okay with doing all that. He submitted a letter to his attorney. So Chauncey called Mr. Ort, and we were informed that Mr. Levy wanted $500,000 for everything. And he also wanted payment in full on the dollar amount that was agreed upon during mediation, which I expressed to Chauncey that there was no way that I would approve that, just me, speaking for me, there's no way that I would approve appropriating dollars retroactively back to a service that was never provided. And so the $500,000 was for the building, for the ambulance bays, for everything, as he put it, everything inside. There was a couple of things that wasn't included in that. It wasn't much of an itemized list. Needless to say, it didn't go anywhere. We didn't follow through with it. Other than, I think Susan signed off on it, I think he did. We sent the money up to the court so that it is in escrow. And so, just so that the world knows. So that was what that meeting was about. The transit, I wanted to inform you, Susie, since you sat on transit, Jay's wife is in Iowa City. She's pretty serious, and so he was not able to be with us at the meeting. I've been in touch with him or kept in contact with him. They may be heading home today, actually, but some serious health issues. So
we've lost too many people.
Yeah, and both Jay and his wife are not very old by my standards.
Not at all.
And not that that has anything to do. And RPA, we approved the transportation, I don't want to say agreement, transportation plan, which I'm sure TAC committee probably reviewed as well at some point in time. Pretty standard boilerplate, other than just plugging in new numbers. So I had my appointment with Dr. Lewis, cancer free, so we pushed it out for another year.
Right. That's good news.
Yeah. He asked me how old I was. I said, I'll be 71 in July. And he said, well, this won't make much difference anyway. Okay.
I had a CETA meeting last Monday in Tumlin. We did not have a quorum.
Short meeting?
No, no. We were still there over an hour because he felt he needed to sit and talk about fundraising.
Okay.
So
You're gonna have the dance? That's not what it is. Where they have the get together and the food and everything and the tickets.
I think that was a week or so ago. But it's always entertaining to go there because we've got some characters on that board.
Yeah, I'm sure you probably do.
Mike Headley, Chuck Webb.
Yeah. Yeah, good old Mike. Matt Grinder's not there anymore, though, is he?
No, he isn't.
It's too bad.
Yeah, good guy. And that's it, other than the normal stuff around here. Dee, do you have anything? Any meetings? I don't think she's on. She is. Dee, are you there? Dee? I know you went to the opioid thing last week. She was there a couple of days. And
Okay, can you hear me now?
yes, we can. We are dying to hear about the opioid money.
Okay, I had Area 15 and we approved a contract with the city of Packwood. They're gonna update their ordinances. And the opioid conference was Wednesday and Thursday. And I guess a short summary of a 2-day conference is do an assessment and find out where the gaps are and use the money to fill in the gaps, or do one thing and do it well. So we'll work with that. I'm going to contact Kitty Bogle, who is back since HCT is not meeting this summer, and talk to her because she'd be a good resource to know what's going on in our area. And then I had, I don't know, some other meeting, but I'm driving, so I'm not going to look it up. But that was the highlights.
Dee, thank you very much for that. We are now to allowing claims and approving reports if we have them. Do we have them somewhere?
I know she was.
I'll sign them this afternoon when I get back.
Okay. Sorry, my bad. That was for you to say. Okay.
Have you guys had any more pushback on the lowering the speed limit on Glasgow Road?
Oh,
Actually got
yeah.
an email today that thanked you.
People have been just saying thank you. Most of my comments are the fact that I thought you were going to into Hickory Hills, but you're going all the way to Pine.
Well, it seemed like the best place to start the slowdown. Where's Hickory Hills?
That's where Zillman's, called Zillman's Hickory Hills, that little county park right there. Just after you go down the dip and up the top of the dip, that's Zillman's Hickory Hills.
She doesn't know.
No, I just explained to folks that slowing down never hurts. It's about saving lives. We did it in consultation with you and with the sheriff's department. And
I think I did a carbon copy of that, right?
So we can't approve them.
Added the travel time to that.
Yeah.
But if we rewind back to what your point is.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like there was.
Well, and I was talking.
You need to continue that.
I think it was Joe Ledger last night, because he said, got a comment, he defended us. And I said,
So
well, I
we can
appreciate
just
it.
come back.
I said, although I don't feel like you need to defend
One
me, but I
line.
appreciate that. I said, You know, I said, most people, when it says 55, they're in 60. And I said, so I'm sure the same people see 45 will run 50 and 55.
I know.
And like Joe
Yeah,
said it's 45 out there where he lives, out by Vedic City. He said we live with it, both figuratively and in reality.
So maybe we can just be patient, wait for a little bit, see how many more complaints or added voice we get.
And then like I told Joe, I said, I want to put a light there in the dip. in the bow.
What'd you say?
Did you see this one was burning?
So,
Please, Dwayne.
Go
He's my
ahead, Dave.
cousin.
Back to the engineer. Can we talk that a minute about the railroad crossings since he's,
Oh, I'm playing phone tag with that guy from the company that's doing the rail crossing.
okay, so maybe we'll know more by next week then.
Yeah, I've noticed they have a bunch of them staged in town here. Bunch of timbers, I'm assuming that they're for the crossing.
You're sweet.
Okay.
It's over there.
I'll keep you posted.
So we do not have claims yet to approve. They will be ready this afternoon when we're all here. So we can look at them then, okay?
Yep.
Did you hear that, Dee?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
So are we gonna adjourn this meeting or just take a recess?
Well, I don't know. I think we should adjourn it and call it back to order at 1:30.
All right, motion to adjourn.
All right.
Second.
Motion adjourned by Sandquist, second by Gimmett. All those in favor say yes, yes.
Yes, bye.